This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, it is Thursday, July 24th. It is 6:04 p.m. This is the Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership. We're going to do public speak again because I did not hit record. Nancy, would you like to go first?
Sure. My name's Nancy Dorian, and I live down on Nashawanek Street in Easthampton. It's a 33-unit apartment building, which has been in the news a lot. Last November, we got bought by an out-of-state LLC. And since that time, they have doubled the rent to new renters. So that's very scary to me because as they go up, I mean, I already am paying 42% of my income. And so the next time it goes up, it's going to be, getting above 50%. And, Easthampton didn't used to be like that. And I think part of the reason that it's happening, which Kathy started to talk about, was that all these out-of-state investment people are coming in and they're buying up properties and they're not being held accountable and they're not, taking care of the properties. They're hiring management company to be the face. They don't even have the guts to show up to our face. So, I don't know what the answer is, but it definitely isn't working the way it is now. And we really need to see, hopefully we'll get the bill passed up at the state level to cap rent at 5. We did it here, which is great. But we have to do something about the big companies. So that is what I'm here to express and also try to find a solution to.
Would you like to say it again, Kathy? Sorry.
Sure. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember all of it. Kathy Wazinski, Overlook Drive. I would like the committee to look at some of the reasons why Easthampton is not affordable, whether it's renting or home buying. There are a number of factors that impact that. A lot of it has to do with state level and city level policies that drive up the costs for renters and homeowners alike. And I think addressing some of those issues, or at least bringing them out in the open, would be really important to help us in solving that issue. One example would be the abuse of landlords in housing court. I think it really drives up the cost of renting because they have to basically pad what they charge for rent in order to account for the squatter that doesn't pay for 6 months, and then the housing court insists that they then pay them, the squatters, to move. We have one local resident who ended up paying $10,000 to get squatters out of their house after they hadn't paid rent for 2 years. And that happens repeatedly in housing court, which then requires landlords to raise prices in order to sort of unfortunately plan for that eventuality. And so that's one reason that's driving up the cost. We are 47th in the nation in terms of affordability.
The cost, state or Easthampton?
The state in the country. Yeah. We are second. We're only behind Hawaii, Alaska, and California, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You can understand why Hawaii costs so much to live in, why Massachusetts, and a lot of it has to do with policies within the state that drive up the cost of living.
Anybody else here for public speak? Okay. Chaim and Ben are here, so we have a quorum. Hello. Great. Well, thank you everybody for coming. We do not have the June meeting minutes ready, so we will table that until September, and then we'll approve tonight's and June's at the same time. So next on the agenda is an update on the current affordable housing projects. I'm going to turn it over to Allison.
Okay. So 385 Main Street, it's known as the Growing Green project. They have been held up in litigation for some time. The neighbors appealed the comprehensive permit that the Zoning Board of Appeals issued for the project. And I think the primary concern on the appeal was stormwater. In response to that, and I think also just dealing with site constraints and also trying to be strategic when it comes to getting the tax credits, they've reduced the scope of the project. Initially, it was 3 buildings that were 3 stories each for a total of 87 units. And now they've reduced to 1 building that will be 3 stories and have 55 total units. So they just filed those new plans with the Conservation Commission, I think last week. So those are being reviewed by the commission. As well, they will need to go back to the Zoning Board of Appeals for an okay on the amended plans. Overall, the impact, I think, of the project as far as the environment goes will be significantly reduced. The footprint of the overall, between parking and the building itself will be much smaller than what was initially proposed. So it is a reduction in unit count, but as I mentioned, they did feel it might be a more strategic number when it comes to getting those tax credits, which are very competitive. So that's moving along. The Tasty Top site, I'm sure people have seen some development movement going on there. What's under construction right now is the Greenfield Savings Bank, and that's going to be the building closest to the street. They've also applied for a building permit for the Roots Learning Center and Gymnastics Center building, which will be behind the bank. They haven't yet applied for a building permit for the housing component. That's part of phase 1. So I'm sorry, I should backtrack to say that it's a phased development plan. And most of the housing units are in subsequent phases, but phase 1 does include 36 units of income restricted rentals. And they have applied for the low income housing tax credits through the state for those units. I'm not sure of the status of, I tried finding whether the state had made those awards yet, and I could not find any updates on it. They announced a mini round, which leads me to believe they've made their decisions on the main round, but I wasn't able to find the announcements. So I don't know where that stands, but I would imagine securing the tax credits will kind of drive the schedule for construction of those units, but they are working towards it still, even though it's been a bit slow to start. 11 Ferry Street was another one. That's the mill complex. Building 11 is one of the larger buildings that remains untouched on the site. It's the one furthest to this east. I should orient myself. Yeah, it's the easternmost building, southeastern. That will be 96 total units is what they're proposing there, 90 of which would be income restricted. Similarly to Tasty Top, they did apply for the LIHTC back in February. Couldn't find whether or not they received that. They haven't notified us, and I'm in pretty regular contact with them. So take that as you will, but the city is working with them to support the project through the district improvement financing program that was adopted by the city back in 2018. Nothing has been done with it in the intervening years. We've kind of resurrected it, so to speak, and they've asked.
What that's called again?
District Improvement Financing, DIF, it's commonly referred to. That's a sort of complicated tax program, but basically it allows the city to directly reinvest tax revenues from those properties back into the infrastructure that supports those properties. So they've requested that the city support the project with infrastructure improvements. Right now, we've got that request before the city council. So that's actively being reviewed. It's not yet approved. There will be a public hearing on that with the city council. Don't have the date for that yet, but it's looking likely to be September.
Was there some other remediation, some other environmental thing happening at that site?
So building 7, which is to the west of 11, and I think it's the largest building on the site. They had applied for an EPA brownfields grant to have that taken down, or just to help with the financing of having that taken down. They did not receive the grant, unfortunately. And so that is sort of a contributing factor to their really needing the city's support with the diff to kind of advance the overall project. It is 2 separate buildings, but I mean, it's all owned by the same developer.
And if it's a brownfield site, we don't want it to be there.
No, yeah, ultimately.
Is it actually, did they determine if it was a brownfield site, that building?
I don't know if the soil is contaminated. I know there's hazardous materials in the building itself. I believe that's my understanding. I don't have a lot of information on the details though, so I don't want to misspeak. But
I think the last thing I read about that was that there were contaminants in the window framings, and that all needed to be removed. And the plan was to create a place where that could all go, and that's what the request for funding was, to help with that. So now that that's not in place, I guess my question would be, if will they still be able to do it with, they're asking for city support to be able to do that, to remove those contaminants? Or
so the city's the request to the city for the financial support wouldn't be directly for that. It would be to help offset other costs that are more public oriented. So similarly to buildings 3 and I think it's 5, that parking lot is public. The public can use it. So the parking lot around building 11 will have public access. There's going to be a connection from Ferry Street to the bike path that will be for public use. I think there's some water infrastructure improvements that they're looking for. So it'll offset other costs for them to allow them to invest their own money into the hazardous materials abatement.
Can they reapply for that EPA brownfields grant?
The reason they were denied had something to do with the ownership structure. It was something that there was something with a leasehold. It was like a legal sort of nuance that they felt strongly that they were eligible for it and appealed the denial, and ultimately were not successful in their appeal. So I don't believe they would be able to reapply.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bummer for sure. So, but that sounds right with the windows and things. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know that there was any soil contamination. I think it was more in the building itself, which is not surprising. Asbestos was used in all sorts of different industrial products. So yeah, that is, I mean, they're eager and very much committed to moving it forward. And the city's trying to support it with the means we have available. So that's that one. The town lodging house is another one that has come up.
Wondering about that.
Yeah, a lot of people have been wondering what's going on there. Initially, Valley CDC was looking at the feasibility of redeveloping the building and also adding some additional units in a new construction building on the site. Ultimately, they decided that it was not a feasible project for them, and decided to move on from it. The city has subsequently been contacted by the Farmer Veteran Coalition and their partners who are interested in the property, both the building and the farmland, whereas Valley CDC was just looking at the lodge itself. They're interested in both. The Farmer Veteran Coalition would be partnering with Duty First Capital for the financial kind of component, the management, the grant. You know, they would need a number of grants and things to make this possible. And I believe Duty First would own the property. Advocates for Human Potential would be another project partner. They focus on behavioral health and workforce development. So the residents of the
Say their name again.
Advocates for Human Potential.
Thank you.
Are they local?
They have a presence in Massachusetts. I think in the Worcester area currently. They, like I said, do have they call it the WRAP program, and WRAP, and it's basically
Wraparound services.
wraparound services. So for the residents of the property, they would be providing that type of support and contributing their financial piece to it. You know, it helps sort of make it possible with the behavioral and mental health component. And the Farmer Veteran Coalition itself does veteran recruitment and training in agriculture. So like actual large scale agricultural practices and how to work with the USDA. And I believe they have USDA funding as well to support their programming. So that's another funding piece for them. So they would be using the property very similarly to its original purpose. It's a challenging property. It has an affordable housing restriction, an agricultural preservation restriction, and an historic preservation restriction. So they will check all of the boxes. They want to just renovate the structure. They don't want to build any more new construction or anything on the property. It would just be renovating the lodge within its existing footprint.
Would they be up? So part of Valley's proposal included making like enhanced SROs. Are they just keeping the same exact footprint, or are they? Well, if they're not using state and federal funding, probably.
It's already
USDA funding is.
But I think it's like Massachusetts that requires
Okay.
that you can't rebuild. You know, like it has to have a kitchen and a bathroom. So I'm just wondering if that's.
so what we toured the property, they have seen it in person. That was something else I should add because it's a lot to take in, and you know it could probably scare some folks off, but they were not deterred. I'm trying to recollect. They were talking about how much they'll be able to do within the building with the historic restriction on it. I believe they probably were looking at the enhanced SROs, but I can't say for certain. I just don't remember. And they haven't, they're still not at the point where they've submitted a complete like package of what they're gonna do, how many units and all of that.
It'll go to the planning board when they do.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of
They would purchase the property from the
they would,
city.
yeah, so that it would have to go through the 30B procurement process. It would have to be
But that's their intention, is to purchase the property from the city. You think?
purchase. Yes, purchase for
Or
a nominal
Yeah,
fee.
but my
They
point
would
is
take
they would
ownership.
establish ownership.
Yep, exactly. Yes, they
City
they
would get out of owning those buildings.
basically. Yes.
Okay.
So yes, they would take ownership of the property. Exactly. They would not be using it.
Great.
Is the as of now where the intent is. So
Excuse me.
Hi,
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry to interrupt. What is an SRO? I'm sorry, I don't know what that acronym is.
occupancy,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
single room occupancy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so the original footprint, everybody had like a room and then a shared bathroom and a shared kitchen. And
Right.
most newer stuff include their own bathroom and like a kitchenette and then shared other living space. So that's why I was asking.
They're going to be applying for a number of grants to support this. So I would assume if it is a state or federal requirement to do the enhanced SRO, that's what. That's what.
That would be so much better too for the folks. who-
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And they seem very genuinely concerned about the well-being of the folks that go through the program and that live on the property. It, you know, it's all a not-for-profit operation.
Yep.
So, great. And it's a pretty unique
What a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's that they came along. It's just it's like I said, it's a challenging property and they really check all the boxes. So, and the gentleman that runs the Farmer Veteran Coalition programming drove out from Montana to look at the property.
Wow.
So they're serious about it. Drove, yes. Yeah.
Maybe they were looking at other ones
Yeah.
to like,
don't think
you know,
so. I
plant some
think
seeds.
just likes driving, I guess, but
Some people don't like to fly.
yeah, I just,
You know.
didn't seem bothered by it. So yeah, it was interesting. But their partners are based in Massachusetts, all there.
Okay.
So yeah, that's to be determined where it goes. Nothing
That seems
official.
like it would be such a better opportunity than what looking at before, I think. Just makes more sense.
Using the farmland would be nice.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think, I think it's being hay right now, maybe. Having it in active farming use would be great. And also, the workforce development component of it. Because it's not, like I said, it's not just farming as like an occupation. It's like it's as a business.
Yeah.
How to run.
I think it's just also more in keeping with the original property. That will feel better to the
Yeah, I think
voters in the neighborhood.
it'll really not be much of a change.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
better to have-
noticeable other than improving the
Yeah, they're
you know,
not,
the
not having a building falling
structure
down
itself. Yeah.
in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about what the process is. Like, it is owned by the city. There wasn't an RFP put out.
Not yet.
Oh, okay, but there is going to be an RFP.
There will be.
Okay.
So it'll have to be declared surplus property as part of the 30B procurement law.
it's like the
Yeah,
schools.
I was gonna say,
Disposition
like,
of real property, very similar. Very similar. Yes. So there.
Theoretically, you could get other bids.
Yeah, so the way that it works is there's comparative criteria for the selection and a rule for award. And the idea here, and this is allowed under law, is that it might go for less than fair market value, but it will further a public purpose.
Yep.
So can't guarantee that they'll be the most competitive application we get, but it's, like I said, a lot of boxes that need to be checked and not many organizations are going to be able to do all of that. So
Yeah, that's restrictions are tricky.
yeah, absolutely. So yes, it will be similar sort of to the schools. It's just not as attractive of an
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
opportunity.
I mean, I'm kind of kidding. Like theoretically, you could get
Yes,
other
same
bids, but
process, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Unlikely.
it's probably unlikely because the probably only other bidders, are people like Valley who've already looked at it. And
Yeah, I don't think Valley's the only one that has looked at it and
Yeah.
decided that it's just not a fit. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are what I have. I guess the schools also should have been on my list. I really don't have an update, unfortunately. The chosen preferred developer that we're under contract with is still in their due diligence period. And I haven't gotten an update recently.
The last we heard was they're doing scans of the buildings
Yeah.
for the historical.
Yeah, that was the last report that I saw. It actually didn't even come to me directly, but I did see that. And I know the same for them. They were trying to get tax credits, which are just really, really competitive and hard. Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, do you have a question? Yeah.
Yes. It's my understanding that both the Main Street and Tasty Top projects, neither had viable sewer plans yet. So do we know if they've submitted them?
Tasty Top, the Greenfield Savings Bank connected into Northampton Street, and the Roots building that will be going in behind it. The DPW has allowed them to also connect into Northampton Street using the former Tasty Talk connections. They had cammed the lines and said that they were in good shape, and felt comfortable with them doing that. As far as I know, the remainder of the project will still need to connect to sewer. That is over private property off of the back of the property opposite Northampton Street. 385 Main Street, DPW didn't seem to feel that it was like a non-starter for them to utilize the existing connection, but they are hoping to partner with the city on a housing works or mass works application to make the improvements to the sewer in Main Street for them to connect into. Particularly now that the project's been downsized, it's less of a concern.
Right, because currently the Main Street sewer line is already over volume. And because a good bit of it is over 100 years old, I'm pretty sure we don't want a catastrophic failure over there.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on the DPW's arena there because it's totally out of my expertise. But the housing works or mass works application, I misspoke. It wouldn't be to improve the Main Street sewer. It would be for them to connect across the way. There's a sewer main that's off of Wamico Drive that they would connect.
My understanding that that's been promised to Southampton 100% volume.
I don't know anything about that.
They announced, Southampton announced it at their town meeting.
So it sounds like a question for DPW, maybe.
Yeah, it's our sewer line. So I don't, our DPW should know more about it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About the schools.
Sure.
So you're talking about Maple Street and Pepin?
Center and Pepin, yep.
And those are the two?
There's
Three.
three
What's the other
buildings. Center, Pepin,
Center.
are two
Great.
separate buildings on the same campus.
Okay.
Yeah, they're right
Wow.
next to
And
each
then
other.
Maple Street.
Mhm.
And so you're planning on how many units? No idea.
It wasn't as many as I had.
Any
I wanna say
affordable ones?
57
I mean,
for
is
some
They're all
reason.
affordable. Most of them are affordable. Are there?
somewhere.
Okay.
It's been a while. There was maybe a few market rate, maybe 5 market rate units.
Chaim's looking.
And it's been a long
Well, because they
time.
had planned
Remember everything?
townhouses down the side of Maple Street on the playground structures, what their last proposal was.
Yeah, 61 units across 3 buildings, 8 market rate, 45 below 60% AMI, and 8 below 30% AMI. That was the proposal that they gave that I think was amended because they had to do the auditorium thing. So I don't know if that's changed, but yeah.
And they're all gonna renovate the schools.
Yep.
That's one. Yep. It's taking a long time.
Yeah.
Everything does.
Any other questions from anybody? Okay, thank you, Allison. Put on the agenda, Chaim, abundant housing legislation priorities, because I thought you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, so I definitely saw that and I was like, I'm gonna prepare, but then I did not.
Okay.
I will say I met with Julia from Abundant Housing Max, and she gave me the idea to reach out to the farmers market to ask if we could table. And that would be something that I think this group, like, we could talk about, just like talking about the affordable housing projects in town, talking about our zoning recommendations, answering questions that people may have. And also, I think that it could be something that we could collaborate with the Housing Coalition on, if there's anyone interested there too. And they got back to me and said that it sounds like something that is totally fine with them. There's no charge because it's not.
Is there in charge? Okay.
There's no charge because we're not selling anything.
Okay.
So they sent me a sign up form, so we just have to like coordinate on time and who's interested.
How long does the farmers market run?
Till
Till
October.
October?
But we
And
could
then
also be on the
it's-
winter market.
Yeah. The question I have, or an idea, just come to the top of my brain is, would that be an opportunity for us to ask the public questions that would be helpful for our housing production?
Well,
To have some surveys,
yeah.
talk to people about what they're hoping to see or what they feel like needs are or whatever. Like, we could think about that.
Well, it also reminds me of Kathy's comments during public speak. Like, what questions do you have? Like, what could we do that's
Right.
helpful?
Yeah.
That are there things that you want to know that you want us to provide some education around?
And abundant housing, like they have materials that they're willing to provide, like they have tabling resources and stuff. So they'll definitely support us in that.
It would also be great if we had a little, like a little cheat sheet for the projects that are happening currently here in East Hampton. People had questions about those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would need to think about like what materials we have / need.
Yeah.
Or even a list of resources where people could go and look. They wanted to see housing, the old housing production plan. Where would you find that? The you know, things that have been filed with the city or with the planning board. Where would you find those things?
What kinds of materials does abundant housing MA have? Like fact sheets or like, yeah.
They might have stuff from like the legislative priorities that they are interested in. I think that they also like, if they come, they request like being able to give out materials about abundant housing, about their organization.
Would they come like to the farmer's market? Oh, they would come. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, you know, surveying residents also. You know, be a nice way to gather some information about what people's concerns are and what they think, as Kathy suggested, what legislative priorities or policies do they think are, you know, contributing to the issue.
How do we want to move forward with this? It seems like a fun idea and it seems like a lot of work.
Did you get the sense that they would be a lot of work? They do all of the things, or do we also need to be?
We would definitely need to be there. Like we would have to be like most of the bodies, but they would be willing to support us with materials. And I think that like if we wanted to print things out, they may pay for it, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I joined the meeting just so I can share.
So I need to make you a co-host probably.
Yeah. I think a couple of their bills already went to hearings, but this one has not yet. So I was going to share the info sheet today.
I don't mind helping with the tabling during the farmer's market. I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be gone this summer for several weeks at different times, but also in the winter, the farmer's market is here in Eastworks, which is where I live. I'm happy to
Oops.
try to participate in that way.
So the thing that's on the screen is their like main act that they keep reintroducing every session, called an act to promote Yes in My Backyard. So like the YIMBY bill is what they call it. It's very similar to some of the priorities that we're doing at the local level of the zoning. So it's allowing up to 5 homes on lots connected to water and sewer, and up to 3 homes on all other lots, eliminating minimum lot size requirements, making it easier to build starter homes by dividing large lots into smaller ones, and eliminating parking requirements for new residential developments. And then there's a couple other things like additional ADU permissions, adopting the housing production plan that the state put out, that kind of stuff. Send you a link. Thanks. So yeah, that's the fact sheet that is available on their website. There's a couple other specific things that a lot of their stuff is very in the weeds, like single stair reform and like the permitting stuff that gets in the way. But it all's very interesting, and they their organization seems very into the yes, build housing, but also we need to protect communities that exist where they are, and like really anti-displacement. So
would they, like, if we wanted to have a survey, I mean, I don't know, have a survey or collect feedback or any way, could they help us think through what that might look like, do you think? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what they do is helping communities do like what we're already doing.
Yeah.
Like helping communities do zoning reform and building housing trusts and housing production plans and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Oh. Cause like, again, like I think this all sounds fun and it's not a lot of work, and I don't know that we all have the bandwidth in July to like create something for farmers market, but if they could help us do that, I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I told the farmers market people like maybe two,
Yeah,
something like maybe one in October.
Yeah.
Or something, you know,
like later on, yeah.
But I know that we can only move so fast given the pace of our meetings and all that. So.
All right, well, how do we want to proceed?
I mean, if we maybe can vote to allow like us to schedule that, or
Yeah, or like authorize you to discuss with Julia when that might work.
yeah, or
might
like
come
a
out.
small subcommittee of people
Yeah.
who are interested. Yeah.
That was 4 things. Which one are we going with? We're going to.
I think a smaller group would probably,
Subcommittee.
yes, which would have to
Okay.
be less than 5 people because we can't have a quorum. And I'm happy to do it, but if other people are really interested in it, sounds like Donna's interested in it.
Yeah.
So who's it? I guess let's start with that. Who's interested? I am Donna. I can do it too. All right, so. All right, so we need a motion to allow Kayam, Jana, and Donna to move forward with a small subcommittee to talk to Julia at Abundant Housing about farmers market presence.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
What, you have to ask for discussion
Oh,
first.
sorry. Is there any discussion? I'm good at Robert's rules.
Okay, that's why I'm here.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. All right. Great. Okay, that sounds fun.
And I have a couple other things. So
Yeah.
The Western Mass Network to End Homelessness sent out an email last week talking about some of the priority bills. One of the hearings was yesterday, improving raft and home base. So that the hearing is available on the state website. The giving cities and towns the option to enact rent control. That is happening Tuesday, July 29th at 1 p.m. You can, so that's at the Joint Committee on Municipalities and Regional Governments. I'm pretty sure Omar Gomez is on that because he's on the House side committee of that. So I would imagine he's on the Joint Committee. Springfield No One Leaves is organizing a bus if you can take the day off or if you are free that day. They're holding a rally outside the State House and they're gonna help people testify and that. And also if you want to testify virtually or send written testimony, I can also provide emails and links to that as well.
Can you remind us what that bill would do?
Yeah, so it would lift the state preemption on rent control for cities and towns. So basically what our resolution at the city level already did.
Cam, what did you call that bill?
It's Bill S 1447, an act enabling cities and towns to stabilize rents and protect tenants.
So RAFT, RAFT? No.
Say it one more time.
An act enabling cities and towns to stabilize rents and protect tenants. But the other one, the raft one, was last week.
Oh, okay,
Or
sorry.
it was yesterday.
I got them mixed up. So this one is an act. This is the Rent Stabilization Act, right?
Yeah, and I can just forward you this email, Donna, from the Western
Okay.
Mass District and Homelessness.
Yeah, thank you. Is there going to be anything local? I mean, if there's going to be a bus to the State House, but will there be anything here in Easthampton or Northampton? Do we know?
Not that I know of. I mean, there was a really cool renters rally that happened last week.
Right, yeah. Okay,
Well, and this is the bus to Boston to people to testify at the hearing.
Yeah.
So that's why they're going to Boston.
yeah, okay. Yeah. And is there a way to, is there a way to access that remotely while it's happening?
Yeah, so the email that I sent you has that link in it.
Oh, okay, I see, I just got it.
Yeah, you
Thank
can
you.
even sign up to testify over Teams if you want.
Okay. Great, thank you.
And I think that that's all I had, other than I could share the beginnings of the Easthampton Housing Coalition website. That's not completely done yet. But it's already looking exciting.
So you're doing one on Easthampton.
Huh?
You're gonna do one on Easthampton. I didn't realize that.
Easthampton has a housing coalition. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've had one for a little while.
Okay. I always go with the
Yeah.
Western Mass one.
It's a lot less developed than the Western Mass Housing Coalition.
Okay.
They're actually like a funded nonprofit, I'm pretty sure. This is just like citizens. It's basically me
It's
in a mailing list. So this is the homepage that I had set up. I'm building it all in Notion because I already pay for that. I don't want to like spend money on a website. So that's going to have like just about our mission. And then I'm building a data hub. I've already pulled all of the data for all of this. So I just need to visualize it and put it on here. But that's going to be like all the data that is available at the Western Mass Housing Study, but specifically for Easthampton. So tenure, vacancy rates, inventory trends, prices, cost burden, seasonal vacancy, zoning, demographics around population, births and deaths, race and ethnicity, economics, so income, education, employment, and commuting, and then environment. And hopefully I'm going to get like a snapshot from 2018 and 2023 for all the census data, and then as continuous as possible for the environmental data.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
And then I'm building a database of all the housing projects. So this will have like all of the units, the unit breakdown, developer and contact information and updates. I'll try to keep that up to date and just like mark when it was last updated.
Will you do it for older ones or harder to find some of that?
I think that this was, my idea was mainly for pipeline projects.
Okay.
And then like it would, over time, the database would get built as things are like marked as complete. But,
Yep. Yep, that makes sense.
And then I was gonna do like a find housing page that connects to like Champ or the Housing Navigator, housing resources that connects to like 4 and 3 cares and like the RAFT program application, stuff like that.
Yep.
Tenant and legal aid, which connects to like Springfield No One Leaves and some of the other stuff at the state level. And then I'm also compiling like a bunch of like all the mailing lists. So like Western Mass Network and Homelessness and Western Mass Housing Coalition and National Low Income Housing Coalition and blah, 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 blah. So it's mainly, I'm just trying to take what's in my brain on the housing stuff and like make it publicly accessible for people in the community.
That's great. Yep.
So I'm very excited about that.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you.
That's great. It looks great already.
Okay, thank you.
We had the rent rally on the agenda. I didn't know, I wasn't able to go, but anybody who was there has an update, wants to share with the rest of the group. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I was able to go. It was really cool. I am just constantly grateful for the work that Springfield No One Leaves does. And like they showed up with a giant speaker and music and made standing out in the 95-degree weather like pleasant. And like it felt like a really powerful like community coming together. And then the town hall was also just really cool. Like people, I've heard a lot of stories before, but it was cool to have like a specific space for that all to be heard. And to have so many community leaders in the room was really cool also. And I think that the organizers did everything right. They showed up with specific asks for what they wanted city council to do. And I think that, we're already well on our way to 2/3 of those asks. But it was still like really cool to see how organized they were and how well done everything was. And you always speak so amazing. So
Great. So what is there a next step? Like what's happening next?
I'm not entirely sure. That might be something you could answer more. I don't know.
Oh, what's next?
Yeah, what's next?
After the rally? Well, we're putting together stuff with Springfield No One Leaves so that we're gonna go on the bus, testify. Hopefully we'll be able to. Yeah, because there's a long line often. And we do have several, like 17 Adams Street was involved in that, and Pleasant View Apartments. So we kind of have two different tracks that we're working on. It's mostly size and but for ours, Pleasant View, we're planning on flyering more and getting in the press more, because we asked for 4 main things back in March.
Of the landlord.
Of the landlord, right. And we have not gotten any of them. And so, he gave us $100 rollback, which is nothing, right, basically. And so, we've been in the press a bunch. We got in the press again, and we're going to keep getting in the press. And that seemed to get them to the table before. It doesn't seem to be stopping their agenda at all so far. And we have a petition. We got lots of signatures at the rally, and then we have petitions for our complexes individually from the people that live there. So whatever Springfield No One Leaves says, we do. And Joel Feldman's been amazing.
Yeah.
So he's really been an asset. And we appreciate the support of the town hall for sure. Mayor and Liz, we miss Liz.
Great. Thank you for the update. Okay, last on the agenda,
No, go ahead. Because I'm gonna answer your question about this.
Oh, okay. Well, this was Ben's suggestion to put this on the agenda, which is that we have mayoral and city council races, and is there an opportunity to talk about housing?
Yeah, and actually, I'm really glad you're here, Kathy, because I was gonna check in with you because Easthampton Media is willing to sponsor and help with some events. And as I'm on the Easthampton Democratic Committee, and I know you are on the Easthampton Republican Committee, and I wanted to partner and see if you were willing to partner to do a couple of different forums. So my thought on that, and I'll just throw it out as an idea, was because I wanted to go to all the different committees and get questions that were important to them to ask the mayoral candidates and to bring to the city council candidates as well. So I wanted to reach out to you and see if you wanted to work on that together. Sure. Yeah. Because I think that would be helpful, is to have questions from all the different, so many different committees in town that are going to be interested in this. And that will speak to, I think, what most residents are interested in. So
that's a great idea. Yeah. So I could not remember.
We've done this before.
I know. So all I could
have it in my email.
All right. So I found the ones from 2017.
Okay.
And then I remembered that in 2020,
Did a
one.
housing forum.
Right,
last time.
you two did the housing forum, and
Yeah.
that's why I was like, oh, that's why I can't find the questions. We
Yeah.
must have given you something, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm sure we can pull it together.
Well, yeah.
So,
Well, not from, I mean, yes, but you could send me what we worked with.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, and the idea is like, we gather questions, work with the media, and no, we don't. We agree whether some people get some questions ahead of time to think about and some they don't get ahead of time. Because I think that that is helpful to do sometimes, like, here's some questions you can, we're gonna ask you, and then the rest of them we keep in our back pocket to ask.
so I guess my question is, do we want to talk about questions tonight? Do we want, then our next meeting is not till September 23rd.
And I can't imagine anybody except like people in this room are paying attention to this as much until October.
Okay.
Frankly. You know, I would imagine that we would host these forums in October.
Okay.
So, but that doesn't mean, so as far as open meeting law goes, folks could send you questions that they're thinking about.
And we could discuss them at the meeting in September.
Right.
Yes.
That's my proposal.
Then
So-
people get a chance to think about what their committee members can think about what your questions might be, and then we would have, I could send, if you give them to me ahead of time, then I can send them all out before the meeting in September.
Right, and we discuss them.
In which case probably, I don't know, Kaya, maybe you would have to recuse yourself from that part of the meeting. Okay. I would not send them to you ahead of time.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a good plan?
Pam's running for city council, that's why.
Oh,
I'm like, okay.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm great.
Just for full
Why we're
transparency here.
Great, okay.
Yeah,
So
does that
do-
sound like a good plan?
Do we need to set particular parameters for what the questions, what kinds of questions?
Well, they should be about affordable housing.
Yeah,
I think we should focus our questions on affordable housing, and then other committees can have their questions on other things.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
okay.
I mean, for people who were not around in 2017, I can give you examples of what
I
our
think we
questions
took
were.
those and started there actually when we did the forum in 2021.
So, some of the questions were, what are the biggest challenges in Easthampton to increasing affordable housing? How do you propose we address this challenge?
Sorry, we're still chatting over here.
In the past, there has been some opposition to development of affordable housing. As a city council person, how would you respond to precinct residents who contacted you in opposition of a development in your precinct? What will you do to ensure that Easthampton is meeting the housing needs of all of its residents? These were some of the questions that we had last time, or I don't know, many times ago, apparently.
123.
So they're kind of general. I mean, it's sort of kind of big picture questions.
We'll find it.
But
But no, you will not be privy to any of those.
if you, I guess, Jackie, I could send these out along with the ones we asked last time to
Yeah.
everybody in advance, and then people could think about it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Does that sound good? Okay. Questions.
Some of them we might have had on index cards because they came from the audience. But we definitely had some.
Yeah, I texted you them, but I'll email them. I'll
Okay.
email the link.
Oh, that's what you just texted me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I like that idea. Okay, I'm gonna make a note to remind myself to do that in like a month so that I don't forget. That's it for the agenda items. I did, at the bottom of our agenda, I did put like our upcoming meetings and that I've emailed out to all of you because we do have some changes. I have not yet gotten the date back from the Aquifer Protection Committee.
Okay.
Or much response. And as you recall, you may recall, Councillor Denham really wanted us to meet with them before moving forward. So I'm gonna email him again.
Who's the chair?
I don't know that they have a chair, but Michael,
Serswick.
yes, is like the
That's how
person
you say it,
who's
but yeah.
I'm communicating with.
Mhm.
I'm gonna push a little bit harder because I really don't want this to like hold us up.
Do we know when they have a regular
They don't
meeting?
have a
Or they
regular
don't?
meeting.
Okay, maybe you said that before. Okay.
I'm getting the impression that either they're really busy or they themselves may not have a lot of concerns, but I think the public has concerns and I think
Yeah,
it's helpful
we
for
should
us to
address
hear from the
those.
public. So I'm gonna try to push him to schedule something.
Okay.
Or maybe he can let me contact his members to try to schedule something because, I mean, I know it's the summer and it's hard, but I don't want to keep
Letting it drag on.
letting it drag on because it's slowing us, everything else down.
Right.
Salem said it would be a good idea, but not that it shouldn't take forever, like it
Yeah.
shouldn't add 6 months.
6 months. I don't want it to add 6 months, but so if we could get something like early September, maybe that feels more reasonable because summertime is hard. I would rather just schedule it and then even if it's just at least hearing from the public, that would at least give us some direction. So that's, I think, what I'll do.
I would imagine, like, in my head, I imagine it being resolved by like us supporting their revisions to the aquifer overlay district and, you know, hearing their concerns, but it doesn't sound like at the last meeting that they had anything specific that they wanted to change. They just wanted
To make
to
sure. they were
understand
heard.
that, yeah.
Understand.
Yep, go ahead, Ben.
I was just going to ask too. I know what Kayam said reminded me that I know they're also pursuing their own zoning changes. So do those have like a track and a timeline that because I know part of what Councilor Denham was saying was like we should submit them all together. So like, yeah,
Right.
just wondering what timeline those might be on.
Do you know, I know they have a consultant. Do you know if they're actively working on anything?
So Patty Gambarini from the Planning Commission, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, was the one to reach out to the committee because she had received a grant relative to drinking water. And I'm not sure of the exact specifics, but she thought a good use of her time with the grant funding would be to look at Easthampton's Aquifer Protection District overlay and the ordinance. And so reached out to the Aquifer Protection Committee, who did meet with her initially to go over some like high level ideas or concerns or issues in our ordinance that are outdated. And then from there, she was going to kind of go back and make some more edits and go over them at a meeting to be determined. And I've not heard anything.
Okay.
Just one of their members is in Europe, has been
Oh.
in Europe for several weeks now.
Okay.
She was gonna be there for most of the summer.
Okay. That's, I mean, summer's hard.
3 members.
Right,
So
so
when
it's like-
a third of
Right.
them are not available.
That's helpful context. So maybe if we could get something scheduled early September, maybe by then they know what Patty's recommending. Yes, that's a good reminder, Ben, because Councilor Denham didn't want us to recommend some changes and then 6 months later they come back with like other things. I want to do it all at once. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
If you email Mike and copy me, I will do the follow-up.
Okay.
Because, I don't know. I run into him every once in a
I
while.
was gonna say, do you have a personal relationship with
We
him?
were on the master plan committee together 18 plus years ago.
Oh, well, obviously that.
My daughter was born then. She was the master plan committee's mascot.
All right, anything else from anybody?
No.
All right, it is 7:03 PM. We have a
I
motion to,
adjourn.
Second.
thank you.
Did you second that, Donna?
Donna,
I
second.
did, yeah.
All right, thanks, everybody.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.